why I'm coming into politics is to be able to help the many people that has been left behind, because they have voiceless. We will need to speak to them, you know. So people are just maybe a few people, a few cronies has hijacked the affairs of the state. We need to be able to take it out of their hands and they be a good custodian for the people, so that we can be able to cure the menace of insecurity, poverty, and they lift our people from abject poverty.
All right, so you've highlighted a couple of issues, right? And I want us to break it down one after the other. But before we do that, you are a strategy and management consultant, and you spent some time in the private sector. So what exactly is it about public service that's appealing to you?
The major thing about the public sector that is appealing to me is that private wealth can only help but a few, but public wealth will help almost everybody. So it's not about the resources, but the resourcefulness and the willingness to serve the people, to help the people. Sometimes they tell you the money is not there, this one is not there. There is money, but a few people are cornering the money while the poor masses are dying and languishing. There is poor health care. So we need to sort these things out. And that is why, as we continue to talk, you know, I can tell you about our agenda, which is tagged #hopes, which is healthcare, opportunity, prosperity, education, and security for all.
So let's then break down your agenda one after the other, right? With respect to security, because that is something that is suffering here in Enugu. What are your thoughts on the current state of security in the states? And where do you begin?
I think the current state of security in the state is quite very disheartening, it's concerning. Though when you are moving around the Enugu sometimes, you know, people tend to get along with their business and you think nothing is happening. But there is a lot of things that is happening beneath that is not reported. People live in fear day and night. And we need to sort those things. And why this is getting more and getting worse is because what's supposed to be meant for the people need to be paid well. People need to be looked after in terms of a good health care. People are impoverishing people. And now people who are living in hopelessness have no other way than to try to take things by force, because the life they are already living has no meaning to them, because they have no meaning life. So they go to the battle. If they die, they die. If they come back, they come back. So if we're able to sort out the mess in terms of providing what people are supposed to have, which is this health care, making sure that if you are sick, you go to the hospital and you can go for checkup without even being sick. You know, and they be able to create opportunities for the young ones, you know, for even the adults, because there are a lot of people who are unemployed and people who are underemployed.
Yeah, so I want us to stay on security now, right? I want us to stay on security now. What's your knowledge, right, is the greatest risk factor for, you know, the breakout of a disrespectful law and order? You know, what in your mind is the greatest security risk that the people of Enugu face today, and how do you want to fix that?
The greatest risk of security that people face in Enugu, risk of kidnapping, risk of car snatching. The other time, you know, the OP Nsukka Road was a no-go area. People were basically being kidnapped every day in the broad daylight. Only maybe when the former secretary to the state government was kidnapped, you know, the state government kind of wake up a little bit. But the ordinary citizens were being kidnapped and people are being paid ransom and those kind of things is not happening. The issue of what is happening in Hamufu is an open to everyone, and it seems not to be going our way. And you're going to be thinking about what these things happen. People go to their villages. I grew up partly in a remote village. You know, we don't know about any insecurity. Now I can go to my village and they sleep overnight without maybe securities here and there. It wasn't used to be that way. So we have to be able to use a good security system, show the willingness that we actually want to tackle the menace.
And the current governor is doing that, right? They introduced forest guards to address the issue of, you know, kidnapping, especially in the hinterlands, right? Are you going to keep that on? Are you going to introduce a different security architecture? What are your plans?
It's not just about introducing those things here and there, but it's about empowering them and showing the leadership. The current governor might have introduced those things, but he is not showing the leadership required in terms of maybe tackling those things. When you're a chief executive, you need to take charge and you need to be in the forefront to be able to do it. If it is happening in South, you need to be there. If it's happening in East, you need to be there. You need to be tackling it. You need to be communicating to the people. You need to be telling people what is happening, giving them briefing and showing sympathy, and they be able to help. Because the issue is that when you set up, whether it is for meeting, giving these people training and giving them will be conniving with those.
Do you know how much one of them is paid?
Do I know how much?
One of the forest guard is paid.
Yeah, I have heard stories that some of them get paid 30,000, some of them get paid 50,000. It's not the same amount of money that they get paid, and people don't even know when the money is coming. They get paid randomly, depending on what you bargain and depending on who employed you.
So, in your mind, how do you hope to improve on that? What are your strategy?
The best thing is to show the leadership from onset, to be on the forefront, and they bring people who actually understand security architecture in terms of maybe the intelligence, to be able to empower people and show people that there is hope. Because as people continue to live without hope, the security and the menace of those things is going to continue to go up. Because we have a situation where in Enugu State, it's basically they are sharing money with their cronies and their few people. And you don't expect someone who sees someone who doesn't have a car, who doesn't have a house, because the person becomes a local government chairman or whatever. The person is building a duplexes here and there where they're getting those money. You don't expect people buying lands and buying lands. We need to distribute this wealth. Instead of sharing it among few, we need to be able to help people in the localities, in the villages, in the hinterland. We need to maybe set out a strategy, use the people who are councillors to identify people who are suffering in their local things and to be able to do things. The government is not doing enough. And this is why we are quite maybe we say, let's come and see. We offer ourselves to the people as the better option, which is our slogan.
And I hear you when you say that, right? Because I think everybody here knows the problem, right? We all know the problem. What we don't quite know is how you are going to do it differently. So when you say you want to show leadership, right, what is that leadership like in real terms?
The leadership in real terms is that as a leader, as a good leader, you need to be visible. You need to be able to relate with the people. Not only when they are doing parties, when they're doing ceremony or somebody died. That is not when you need to be seeing you as a leader.
I'm talking about leadership in the context of the security situation.
That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you. Because once you are visible and people know that you are relatable and you are like them, you are not telling them that you are better than them because you're a governor or you are this thing doesn't mean that you are better than anyone else. It's just an opportunity and privilege for you to serve the people. And you are like a manager, and if you are not good, they should throw you out. But we live in a kind of a conundrum that actually maybe people, the electorate, are handicapped. They can't really do anything because it is a fixed system and a selecting system. But in order to do these things, because it's about the people of Enugu State, for them to decide whether what they have had for the past 23 years or even 30-something years, because this thing started even when there was in 1992. Some people who are contesting this election, they have been in governance in one way or the other since 1992 or before then. They are recycled politicians, everyday politicians, out-of-touch politicians, and they have nothing to offer to our people. And if our people decide to go to them, they're going to still get the same thing. Because you see, like maybe the PDP in this Enugu State, they constituted about whether it is 2,000 campaign councils and everywhere. They are the people that are going to be sharing those money, continue to share those money. So if people wake up as you are here, you go and talk to your parents, your friends, your relative and whatever, that enough is enough. And we can show these guys out of door. Otherwise, we continue to do.
Okay, so let's move away from security quickly and talk about one other issue that you raised. And I was reading about you. And some of the things that I saw you say you want to do, came off as very interesting to me. So you're proposing that health care be free for the elderly. And then I looked at Enugu's budgets. The one that was just passed is about 167 billion naira. And you look at, your current debt profile, right? And you wonder how you're going to service your debts and still pay for that. But first, I want to get your thoughts on why you think that providing free health care is important.
Yeah, thank you so much. Actually, I correct an impression. The free healthcare is not just for the elderly, it's for everyone. Everyone who lives in the state, whether you are born, whether you're a citizen, no, it's for everyone, free health care. This is a situation we set up a system that if you are sick, you are able to go to hospital and be able to see a doctor and be able to get some diagnosis. Not only when you are sick, but you can also go for checkups. The money is there to do it. And if the money is not there, we can organize a fund for healthcare system. There is a lot of billionaires in Enugu that can contribute to the health scheme to be able to help. There is a lot of people that we can reach out. So it is the willingness to do it, it's not the resources.
Your plan for public health care is based on philanthropy of billionaires.
No, you can't base it. It's not based on philanthropy or program. I'm telling you that you can raise money. There is money that is already there that can be utilized. It's just that it is channeled wrongly. And now, in order maybe to put more to that pulse, you get what I mean? There is a lot of people who are already contributing to the societies and to other non-governmental organizations. And if government needs help, they are quite willing to help, but you need to ask. Because if you don't ask, you don't get. Because you cannot leave our people in the villages and whatever. People are begging money every now and then.
Do you think that billionaires or even people with private wealth, right, is the answer to this problem of funding for healthcare? And I ask that because more often than not, these people also have their own agenda. So are you going to be submitting the independence of the people of Enugu State at the altar of a few because we're getting a couple millions from them?
I think you are missing a point. We don't base it and we don't put it to the hands of a few people. We're telling you, people like to be recognized and people like to be appreciated. So when people are stakeholders and custodians to their states, they want to contribute and they want to help. And when they are recognized in one way or the other, in National, sometimes they say they are giving order of the night, that they are giving this. And what are those people they are giving those things actually doing? Now we can get people to actually key in terms of uplifting the humanity. Then you can actually recognize them as people who are important personalities in the state, not just maybe people who are not doing anything. And I'll tell you, it's not just that money. There is already money, just misappropriation and misallocation of the money.
There is already money. I'm wondering where you are seeing this money. Because the state government has a budget of 167 billion naira for 2023.
Yeah.
And you look at you look at the federal allocation that you receive from the government, it has been dwindling since 2020, no thanks to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah.
So when you say there is money, and then I don't know if you're very familiar with your IGR, but it is still not where it should be when compared to other states around the country. So when you say there is money, where exactly do you see this money? I want you to be very specific about the areas where this money is.
Okay, let me tell you one thing. If you are trying to put up argument, there is no money. You go and ask the state.
No, I am not. I'm just asking you where you see the money because I'm quoting the numbers that I see.
Let me tell you why there is money. It just depends on if you are an executive where you want to channel the money and where it benefits you or what you think is important for you. Because if you say there is no money, you go and ask the governor, where did you get money to build flyover? Go and ask the governor, where did you get money to build a new school in Nsukka? We already have schools and they are underfunded. Yes, those schools are good, but where are you getting the money from? And they're going to tell you there is no money. It just depends on maybe what is priority, what a governor or what an executive set out to do. The federal allocation and the internally generated review, and if maybe they are doubled as well, is enough, to go around. There is more than enough, in this world, in this Enugu state to go around to uplift the people. It's just channeling the money and make sure that you cut all those wastages and cut all those maybe people who are stealing and siphoning our money. Right. Once you cut out those things, you see that there is abundance of money. It is just quite very clear.
Okay. What then is your plan for raising the revenue generated here in Enugu State?
Yeah, some of our plan in raising the revenue of Enugu State is about revamping some industry that is decaying. We used to have vegetable oil in Ojiriva, in Nach. We need to invest in agriculture. We had a town hall meeting of our party today, and somebody asked me a question. How is it that we have Ministry of Agriculture, they get paid and they get paid, but there is nothing they are actually producing? What are they actually doing? Now you have Ministry of Agriculture with workers everywhere there, but they are not being empowered to be able to produce things for the state. So what are they actually doing? Now, if we invest in agriculture to be able to help people, then we can also maybe increase on tourism, because Enugu is quite a nice environment. People like to come to Enugu, and with good security, there's quite a lot of money coming. Yesterday was Friday, today is Friday. There is a lot of people coming weekend. You meet people, they tell you they're coming from Port Harcourt, they're coming from Abuja, they're coming from those places. And then we can make this place a destination for holidays in terms of tourism to be able to grow this economy, so that actually a lot of things can be happening in this southeast, in this Enugu.
If there are questions in the hall, we will take them now. If you have questions for Mr. Ekene Ogbodo, he's the governorship candidate of the AAC, we will take them now. We need some microphone. We need a microphone here in front, please. Please remember to keep your question very brief. Let us know your name. Keep your question very brief and go straight to the point, because if you take more time, then it means he's got less time to answer, and that means we can't get more questions from the audience. Everyone has equal stake here, so as quickly as possible, let's get straight to all the questions that you have. We'll start from here. There's an elderly man here in front who needs a mic, so we'll get that one to you in a moment. And so, just before he gets the mic handed down to him, what do you think the people of Enugu State will remember your administration for if you eventually make it into office? How are you thinking of what your legacy here will be?
My major legacy is will be in terms of uplifting people from abject poverty, so that people can have a hopeful life, live hopefully, not hopelessly. Because our people, like I said, are living in abject poverty of the mind, the pocket, and the soul. So we need to show them inspiration, and we need to show them there is hope, and we need to do that.
All right. So fast. There's a microphone here in front, sir. Please, let's meet you. You're going to please tell us your name, and you would be as brief as possible about the question that you have to ask.
Answer in our society, and I don't know. It is coupled with transparency. Let me go direct to you. Will you let us know publicly what to earn every month and what to spend? Whether your wife will be the first lady, what she earns and what she spends, your commissioners, and generally the expenditure of the government, so that we can start there to save money. Secondly, Enugu State is in a very the poorest state in Nigeria. Agriculture can't give us anything. Tourism can't give us anything. It can fail at any time. We want hard production, technical products like autos, what do you say, computer parts, and the rest of them. Things like that. Things that will earn us hard currency, things that can export.
All right.
If we export only agriculture, they can say they don't want.
Okay, let's take that question first. He's asking about transparency. Will you be clear and open about what you earn and what you spend?
Thank you, Professor, Doctor. He's a double professor and double doctor. It's a very good question. To go straight to the point, transparency will be our watchword. In our town hall meeting earlier in the day at Old Villa Suits, I did mention that the government that we're gonna run, if the you people here give me the mandate, is a government that will base on transparency. And we are coming into the government with less overhead, because we don't have all those godfathers, we don't have all those people who has been wasting the money. We are not the part of the people who are being blackmailed that they bought their ticket with 6 billion or 16 billion or 20 billion. So we don't have too much overhead. And we don't have people to answer to apart from people who voted us in.
So will you be?
So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna be able to publish where we are spending the money, how much healthcare is getting, how much Ministry of Transport is getting, how much this one is getting, how this money is spent. Because how much education is getting, the police, the civil defense, whoever that is getting what, how this money is spent. That is what I actually said in the afternoon, and I'm repeating it again. And it's very important that people know how their money is spent and how the money is generated.
Right.
So we're going to be transparent.
Okay, do we have any other question in the hall? There is a gentleman here in front, please. And then there's another gentleman. Yes, let's hear from him, please. Please let us know your name and be brief about your question.
Good evening. Yeah, my name is Daniel Okwo. I run a leadership foundation called Daniel Okwo Leadership Foundation. Yeah, my question goes that I don't know whether you live in Enugu. If I actually live in Enugu, there's something I was expecting you to say first, and that's issue of water. Because throughout Christmas, you find out that 20% of Enugu environment doesn't have water. So that's why when you talk about water, it's like a non-issue. But you find out that water is one of the most important things about a city. And a place like Enugu that has been old eastern region, not even a new created state. And then we are talking about water. The only way you can have water in Enugu is about GRA, maybe New Haven, very few places. So I don't know whether you see it as a problem in Enugu State. Because for me, life without water, I don't know what else. And students are suffering, everybody is suffering. So I don't know whether you see water as an issue in Enugu State.
All right.
And then secondly.
No, sir, we can only take one question, please. One question at a time. Thank you. All right, so about the water situation.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for raising that. You know, I wasn't given the opportunity to say everything that we have in mind or we have in our manifesto. Actually, water supply is our number one in our manifesto. And that is one of the things we discussed this afternoon earlier and how we're going to do that. So we have 5 major points, which is our agenda, but we distill it into 12. So water is actually number one. And because water is an issue in this Enugu State, is not about the resources, that there is no water or we can't find water or we can't distribute it. It's about the resourcefulness and the willingness to actually do it. So the resources to do it is there, but we need to be more resourceful in terms of making sure that we give the people water. I live in a place, because you asked, you don't know whether I live here. I grew up partly in a remote village where there is no electricity, no pipe-borne water. I used to carry a bucket of water and the jerry can on my head in Obinago, Abugo. So my life, I'm 43 years old. I've lived there first part of my life in a rural area. I lived the second part of life in an urban city in Enugu, went to UNEC and they did business in Enugu. I actually live in United Kingdom as well, where is a very good environment. So I have experienced it all. The bad one, the middle one, and the top one. But like I said in the afternoon, you know, in as much as it's an advanced country, they don't have everything all. But it's actually a good thing, and our Enugu people are happy people, and we need to maybe help our people because our people are suffering to be able to give water. Because if you go to work, you come back, you don't have water to drink, you don't have water to have shower or bath. That is quite
what I want to ask you, what I want to ask you first is, do you understand the root cause of the absence of water, or in some places, poor supply of water in the Enugu State?
Yes, I do understand it, because it's about what is happening about this water is that some people tell you that they can't find water. But there are people who are working against it.
Who are the people working against it?
There are a few cabals who are benefiting, whether you call them, who are messing up the money that is put in there, because a lot of contract has been given. I was living in this Enugu when Sullivan came, and Sullivan awarded the contract of water supply in Enugu, and they did what they did and they end up maybe siphoning the money, and they did not finish the project. So the issue is about abandoning project, not doing what they're supposed to do, using inadequate contractors to do those jobs, people who doesn't understand what needs to be done.
All right, so let's give it to the lady in front here, please. There's a lady in front with a question, right here.
My name is Okechukwu Judith, the convener for ArchTech Foundation. Okay, my question is based on, we don't have enough employment opportunities for youth in Enugu. So with that, a lot of youth are going into technology now in Enugu. And like we have the Enugu Tech Hub, which the government have spent enough money, and I can't really see what they are doing there. They use desktop, like the old ones, and we don't know where the money is going into. So I want to ask, what's your view in expansion for technology in Enugu?
Thank you.
Technology, thank you so much. Technology is very important. Nobody can, because this is now a global village. And every one of us, most of us has smartphones. We communicate, and the people make money in their phones and in their tablets. So technology is one of things in our manifesto. And in terms of maybe helping the young ones, forget about all those things they are telling you. They are sending people here and there to go and learn technology. All those things are just a program that is meant to fail. The way we want to tackle it, we can put people into apprenticeship program where people go and they learn on the job, and they will support their employers who already have those technology. Let's say you want to learn about maybe how to repair phones or how to do cars or whatever. We'll be able to support employers of labor in terms of maybe people going there to learn the job. We are Igbos, and there are a lot of people who become rich in they went to what we call apprenticeship. They call it Eba boy and those kind of things. But in an advanced way, you don't do it that way, because some of those people who went to do this apprenticeship with some of their guys, they get messed up because they are not even settled. But we do it in such a way that government backs the employer up. We pay you money, and you'll be able to learn, and we'll be able to help you to develop your own technology. I'm a digitally person. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much. We've been speaking with Mr. Ekene Ogbodo. He is the governorship candidate of the African Action Congress, AAC. Thank you very much for spending time with us. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. We need to bring another candidate on, but we have 2 more candidates to go, and they will get to answer your questions.
Can I take that man?
I'm sorry, you may not.
Sure.
Yes, we have to go now. But stay with us. This is my time with the candidates of the African Action Congress. We will be right back in just a moment. This is the candidate reaching you live from Enugu.